Right now, the only group of people that's recommended to get a third dose of an mRNA vaccine, that's Pfizer or Moderna, are people who have underlying significant immune compromise. And for those people, it's really not considered a booster, because a booster assumes that you had an initial good immune response that just faded away over time. But we know from the data that we have is that the people in this group often didn't even mount a good immune response to begin with. So this is considered a third dose as part of their primary series. So they would get 3 mRNA vaccines, the last one being at least a month after their second dose. So that has already been authorized by the FDA and recommended by CDC. So people can right now go out and get that if you fall into one of those high-risk groups. For everybody else, there's a lot of talk about boosters. So this would be for people who initially got their first 2 doses. They have a normal immune system. It's presumed that they responded to them. But now, because of time or because of the emergence of new variants, their immune system or their immune response perhaps has faded away. The data are still really being collected right now. I know there's been a lot of talk about the boosters will be coming soon. It will still need to go through the FDA to expand that emergency use authorization to include a third dose, and whether that will be for everybody, whether that will just be for certain high-risk groups like people in nursing homes, healthcare workers, people over 65, all that is yet to be determined. And once the FDA does authorize a third dose, then it would again go to CDC to make some more formal recommendations. So, we think it's coming. We don't have a lot of details yet. Of course, the pharmaceutical companies, have looked at, fading antibody levels, and we know that that happens over time. That antibodies have only a certain half-life. They naturally go away over time. And if you give a third dose, they will bump up again. So, certainly that has been shown in the data. But what that doesn't really measure is the fact that we also have, memory B cells and memory T cells that are there kind of waiting. We can't measure them very easily, but presumably if you were exposed, even though you might not have good antibody levels, they would start pumping up those antibodies again. So I think it's still a little debatable to what extent people actually need a booster dose, even though we can demonstrate, the fading of antibodies over time. So more to follow, but keep an eye on this space, and we'll update as more information becomes available.